If you're wondering what your next season might be, or the next chapter of your life might be, or even you're wondering about your kind of God-given purpose, in this video, I'm going to give you the 5 steps to discover that. I have coached literally thousands of people through this process, and on the other end of it, they've had real clarity on moving into their next season, their next chapter, and even doing it in the context of their life God-given purpose. So before I give you the 5 steps to help you discover this, let me give 2 points of clarification. Number 1, these are steps. There is a process involved in this, but also in addition to steps, these are actually 5 ingredients, the way I like to say it. These are 5 realities already in your life that you need to discover or uncover that will help you move into your next season or your next chapter. One of the things that we need to be clear about is that usually our next season is not from some epiphany. It's not from something outside of us. It's something that's already in us. It's who we are. We're simply taking the time to uncover those things. Then they will point us in the next direction of the next season of our life. The second thing to think about is these next steps are in the context of having a life compass, or I call it a North Star. And again, that's like knowing somewhat of our life purpose. Not a 40-year life plan that we're reverse engineering, but having an idea, this is who I am. And as I continue to look to my North Star or use my life compass, my next chapter, my next season makes sense in the context of my North Star. So those are 2 important points of clarification. These are 5 steps, but also really 5 realities already in our life. They don't come from something outside of us. There's something already in us. And our next chapter should be done in the context of understanding somewhat of our God-given life purpose, which I call, again, a life compass or our own North Star. So let me give you those 5 steps or those 5 ingredients. And the one is what I call sovereign foundations. Now, many people call this the early formation years, and it's true, it is that. But I use the idea of sovereign foundations because I come from a biblical worldview, believing that God is involved in our life from beginning to the end, and he uses all things in our journey toward our next season, our next chapter, our life purpose. So what sovereign foundation simply is we were all born at a certain time into a certain family, grew up in a certain place or places, and had shaping experience early on in our life. For me, I grew up in the South, small little town in Tennessee, 3,000 people, 3 red lights. I grew up there in the late 60s, early 70s, a great place to grow up. Think about Andy Griffin, Mayberry RFD. That's how I grew up. I'm the middle of 7 kids. My dad was a pastor. During the summer, I would get on my bike in the morning, go out, play baseball, go to the pool, go fishing in the creek. It was just that type of life. I had 3 or 4 mothers that weren't my moms, but mom simply had to call somebody that she could find out where Ken was. Long as I got home by dinner, I was fine. That's how I grew up. That's part of my sovereign foundations. My family was also very musical. All of us were musical. We traveled with my dad, with my parents, through a lot of small churches all throughout the South. My dad would preach and we would sing, and play our instruments. And so I just grew up in a very healthy sovereign foundations. Now, I know that's not for everybody, but the point I want to make is God uses our early years as part of our destiny. Here's the way I like to say it. Our past is the raw material for our redemptive future. So God doesn't just take the first 10, 12 years of our life and kind of cut it off. No, he ends up redeeming it and using it. And it's part of who we are now. And so that's what we call sovereign foundations. That's the first ingredient. The second ingredient in the reality in our own life then are our top gifts. Now, these are gifts that are innate in us. These are gifts that God has given us. And these are also gifts that we've acquired through skills and experience. But it only makes sense that our next season, our next chapter, our God-given life purpose, it's in the direction of how we are gifted. So many people are not sure about how they're gifted, their top gifts. I call this the gift cluster. It's kind of like a cluster of grapes. There's 3 or 4 of our top gifts that we all have. Here's how you can easily discover your top gifts. I'll give you 4 quick questions to think about. The first one is, what are you naturally good at? You just be honest with yourself. I'm good at working with my hands. I'm good at figuring out problems. I'm good at listening to people. I'm good at this. What are you naturally good at? That would be the first question. The second question would be, what are people around you, those close to you who know you well, what would they say you're naturally good at? And what usually happens, they simply confirm what you've already put on your paper. They say the same thing that you said. You're really a good listener. You're really good with people. You're a great communicator. You're a good teacher. You're very creative. You have an intuitive ability. Whatever it would be, they confirm it. So ask people around you, what is Ken Roberts naturally good at? You'll get some really good feedback. The third thing then is, what do you seemingly have to do a little input for? It's easy for you to do. It doesn't take a lot of energy or effort, and yet it gets massive response from others. Like people say, man, I can't believe you paint the way you do. My wife she's an artist. Or you put that outline together so fast and it was so linear and so clear. Or you fixed that problem that would take me 3 years to do and you did it, in no time. What do you give little energy to that has a massive output from? That's a third way to think about your gifts. And the fourth one is, what do you love to do? And when you stop doing it, you can't wait to do it again. I love to create content. I love to think. I love to write. I love to take complicated topics and kind of make them understandable. And so I love to teach what I'm doing here. When that ends for me, I can't wait to do the next video. Why? It's part of my gifting. The same is true for you. So if you will take those 4 questions, you will then, what will bubble to the top are your top gifts, your gift cluster, and that points you into the direction of your next season, of your next chapter, and of your life God-given purpose. Here's the third ingredient, extremely important. What are you passionate about? Many of us, we have seeds or maybe a thread in our life that there's been a passion there. Now, we can't always articulate it. Sometimes it morphs and matures over time. So it's not always the same in our language or our understanding. But if you begin to read your life, you'll see there is a thread of some area of passion in your life. It's something that you actually cry about. You're burdened by. It's something that you celebrate about. It's something that you want to see the world nudge forward in. These don't have to be like, changing the world. It doesn't have to be world hunger, but there's areas of your life that if you dig it up, if you're honest about it, you say, I'm extremely passionate about that. Here's a way to figure what that passion is. If money or time wasn't an obstacle, you had all you needed, it was a white board, a clean white board, what would you do with the rest of your life? Now, I'm not talking about, building a house in the mountains and, one on the beach. I'm not talking about that type of passion. I'm talking about what would you do to serve the world in some way to move it forward in goodness? What would that be for you? The second way to think about your passion is, if you were asleep in the middle of the night and you were awakened by an angel, and the angel said to you, hey, Ken, you've got 3 minutes. Tell me what you want to do with the rest of your life to make a difference in the world. What would that be? For me, I know what it is. I want to help as many followers of Jesus wisely navigate defining moments so they don't get stuck or stall out, and they can stay on the right track or the right path to ultimately finish well. One of my passions has been for many, many years, and one of the images that I use, it's kind of an icon that I have, is that I am crossing the finish line after a long race, like at the Olympics, and I'm now in the arena. and I'm about to cross the finish line, and I look back, and when I look back, thousands of people are running behind me. And they're running behind me for me, not because of evangelism or salvation. They're running behind me because they are people who are running with intentionality in the life that they've been given. Now, that's a passion for me. And so that passion has a lot to do with my next chapter, my next season, and my life God-given purpose. You have that passion as well. The fourth ingredient is then what I would call our temperament. That is how we are wired by God. Now, again, it just makes sense that God wires us in a way that should be in alignment with what he's called us to do, with what he wants us to do in the world, with our next season and our next chapter. And so I am wired in a way, you are wired in a way that should be in alignment with that. Again, my temperament, I'm intuitive, I'm a contemplator, I'm a turtle, not a hare. I'm methodical, and that all fits for me with what I'm doing. I create content, I think, I write, I do this for YouTube, I coach people one-on-one. I love to listen, I love to draw people out, I love to be by myself, I love to be in my office. That is in alignment with my life purpose right now, and it's in alignment with my next season. As you think about your next season, think about how you are wired, and if your temperament is in alignment with what you are moving into or what you might want to move into that's next. The last thing for me then is the last ingredient of the 5 is what I call life-shaping experience. All along the way, whatever age you are currently at, and as you're looking into your next season, your next chapter, we all have life-shaping experiences. Now, sometimes those life-shaping experiences are extremely positive. I coached a lady through this process, and she had moved with her family around the world. That was her upbringing in lots of different cultures. And so she loved to be in different contexts with people of different cultures and can really acclimate to that well. And that was part of what she did in her life then. That was part of her next chapter as we worked through this. Other people have life-shaping experiences that are negative. You're aware of one of mine is my late wife was killed in a car accident at the age of 47. About 3 years later, the church I've been pastoring for 25 years began to unravel. Those 2 events shaped my life. How did they shape my life toward my next chapter, toward my next season? Well, what I'm doing now is I'm helping people navigate defining moments. Why do I do that? Because I've gone through defining moments. God has used those life-shaping experiences. He's put it in the ingredients, one of the 5, into my life. And that points me of my life compass and of my North Star of how I continue to move toward what I've been designed to do. Now, here's what's amazing about life-shaping experiences. Again, using God as the one who knows our life from beginning to end, is he doesn't throw anything away. He wants to redeem all things and use it in a purposeful way. So my late wife's passing, and even when I say this, I don't understand how it happens. It's just like, still blows my mind. But it was not a detour to my next season. God actually used it as a way to move me into my next season and move me into my destiny. So if you're thinking about trying to figure out what is your next chapter, and even what is my North Star, what is my life God-given purpose, because again, that should be the context in which we are taking steps in every chapter of our life. These 5 things, 5 ingredients, will help you to know what that is. Sovereign foundations, your top gifts, your life passions, what really drives you, your temperament, how you're uniquely wired, and then your life-shaping experiences. You put them all together in a bowl. You're reading your own life. This is not from outside epiphany. You're reading your own life. And as you're reading your own life, it will point you to your next season, clarity for your next chapter, and it will give you a life compass to help you understand your God-given purpose and continue to move in that direction. If I can help you in any way, here's 2 things you can respond to. If this is helpful, now move from discovery, this is the discovery process, into action. And this next video that I've done, it's on 5 essential C's to move into your next season. So it's the action. This was discovery. This is the action. So watch this video. And then also, if I can continue to help you, please leave a comment, leave a like, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. All my life purpose at this season in my life is guiding followers of Jesus through defining moments so they don't get stuck, stall out, and they stay on the right track to ultimately finish well. Hey, let's finish well. Move into your next season. Hope this was helpful.